In today's YouTube video, we're taking a look at the top 5 long-range meta guns to be using. These are 110% the best guns you guys can use from range in Warzone. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe for more, and let's hop into this. All right, first gun we're taking a look at here today is going to be the RPK. So it's kind of funny how this has made its way back into the meta as being a great long-range contending option. But it's actually really good. So first attachment on here is going to be the TY-LR8 horizontal recoil control. This is really going to help stabilize the gun out because it does bounce around a little bit after some of those nerfs they got here. But the tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.75 and a plus 0.17. After that, we're going to go down in here. We're going to run the FTAC Ripper 56. This is the underbarrel that we run on so many different builds and guns, everything like that. This is just a really great underbarrel. Aiming idle stability, hipfire accuracy, and recoil stabilization. All really great stuff. The tune on this here is going to be a plus 0.36 and a plus 0.27. After that, we're going to go down here. We're going to run the 7.62 high velocity rounds. This is a pretty self-explanatory attachment. It's pretty much just going to increase your projectile velocity, helping your shots register faster because everything is a projectile in Warzone. Nothing is hit scan. So that's just kind of how that does or how that works. The tune on that is going to be a plus 0.38 and a plus 4.35. After that, we're going to go back here and we're going to go to the rear grip section for the Demo X2 grip. This can help us out that recoil control, once again stabilizing the gun, making it really good for those long range engagements. So that's why we got that on there. The tune on this here is going to be a plus 0.52 and a plus 0.16. Then for our final attachment, we have the tried and true Aim Op V4. We run this on so many different guns, kind of much like the FTAC Ripper 56. It's one of those universal attachments that we really enjoy running. So that's why we have that on here. It's just so good. The tune on that is going to be a negative 0.87 all the way maxed out there on the bottom for that far distance. But that's my full build there for the RPK. Next up, we're going to be taking a look here at the Cronen Squall. So this thing got a few different buffs and nerfs, and mainly a lot of nerfs, but it's still like the best long range option as far as like an assault rifle goes. So that's kind of why people still use it, because it's pretty much the best long range assault rifle. Even though it's technically a battle rifle, it is mainly used as a straight up assault rifle. So first attachment is going to be the Bore 490 for that horizontal and vertical recoil control. We really need this here desperately for this gun, just because they've tried to nerf the recoil so much to make it a less viable long range option. But you guys know that whenever they do these, patch updates, buffs, and nerfs, it takes like 5 nerfs for anything to actually be decently nerfed. But the tune on that here is going to be a negative 0.44 and a plus 0.17. Now we're going to go up in here to the barrel section, run the HR 6.8 barrel for the increase in damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and hipfire accuracy. So all really great things here to extend our range capabilities with this gun. The tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.39 and all the way maxed out there on the bottom for that damage range. Now we're going to go down here and once again run the FTAC Ripper 56. I don't feel like I have to explain this one here every single time, so I'm just going to let you guys see. I mean, it is the FTAC Ripper. You guys know what it does. The tune on this here is going to be a negative 0.59 and a plus 0.27. Now we're going to go down here and run the 50 round drum. So the 50 round drum is an attachment that you have to run. Back in the days where we were running this as a semi-automatic, where it was indeed a lot better as a semi-automatic, we probably could get away with running a 30, but now because we only run this exclusively in fully automatic, you have to use a 50 round drum. That is just kind of the way it goes. This is what we're doing. And then for our last attachment, the Aim Op V4 here, once again, I'm not going to explain this one because, I mean, this gets used so often on a variety of different guns. It's just so good. The tune on that here is going to be a negative 1.84 and all the way maxed out there on the bottom for that far distance. So that is my full complete build there for the Cronen Squall. Now we're jumping into one of my personal favorite battle rifles for using in-game or just rifles in-game, the TAC V. This thing is so good. I absolutely love using it. It shreds. It's probably one of the fastest TTKs, and it's one of your best long-range options. So that's why I was in a TTK video and in this one, because it's really good. So first attachment, though, is that Sock and Tread 40. Vertical and horizontal recoil control. I mean, it's a battle rifle. It's going to bounce around a little bit, so we're going to stabilize it out. The tune on that here is going to be more for the recoil stabilization with a plus 0.41 and a plus 0.14 here on the bottom for a little bit more recoil control. Now we're going to go down here. FTAC Ripper 56. You guys, know the drill with this one. Really great underbarrel. Works for pretty much any gun in the game. The tune on that here is going to be negative 0.28 and maxed out for aiming idle stability. Now we're going to go down here and run the 7.62 high velocity rounds. So the high velocity rounds, of course, they just make sure that your gun actually has that projectile bullet reach the target faster, which is ideally what we want. We want our guns to be able to reach the target faster. Our bullets that can be the difference between you taking someone down and them getting a few extra shots off or something like that, and maybe taking you down. So it can make a pretty big difference. The tune on that here is going to be -0.36 and -4.06. Now we got to go down here and run the 50 round drum here as well. Like we did the Cronin Squall, we had the option for the 30 and the 50. The TAC V is never something we ever ran in semi-automatic. So you pretty much, if you're running the TAC V, you always ran it with the 50 round drum anyways. So the 50 round drum is going to be the way to go here for this one. It's still pretty much that. And then lastly, hey, listen, AMOP V4. I ain't got to explain this one too much. You guys know what it does. It's just a great sight, and the tune on that here is going to be -1.35 and a -1.65. So that is my full build, my full tuning there for the TAC V. Pretty much like the best long range gun in the game. Like as like an assault rifle, as a battle rifle, it's really, really good. Now here's probably a little bit of a shock to your guys' system right here. Actually, the Tempest Razorback being a really good long range meta option. This thing got a serious buff here, and it is a lot better, and you guys should be using this more as an AR now, not like a sniper support. So first attachment here is gonna be that Harbinger D20, sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. I mean, this is just a great attachment overall, and we definitely still want to increase our damage range and bullet velocity and all that stuff with this gun, because recoil is pretty manageable. So with this, just kind of helps round it out a little bit. We definitely like extending out our range as much as possible here, especially since this is an assault rifle, not necessarily like an LMG. The tune on that is going to be all the way maxed out for that recoil smoothness and a -0.19 here on the bottom. Now we're going to go up in here and run the 16 Tanker V barrel. This is going to give us that increase in recoil control and bullet velocity. We're not too worried about these cons, as this is an AR. We're not trying to make this super fast. We are more concerned with like how much range can we get out of this thing and how easy can it be to control. So that's why we have that on there. The tune on that is going to be a +0.50 and a +0.12. Now we're going to go down here, and this is a really odd grip to be able to run. It's pretty close down here to the end, the DM Proto grip. So this is one that's pretty unique to this gun here, but aiming idle stability, horizontal recoil control, and recoil stabilization's got some unique properties to it, which makes it, you know, actually significantly better than some of these other options down here. Well, I mean, these are just bipods, so we don't ever use those anyways, but, you know, I'm talking about some of the other ones a little bit farther down. This is actually a really great option, and definitely the #1 go-to for it. The tune on that here is gonna be a +0.31 and a +0.21. Now we're gonna go down here and run the 60 round mag. So if you're gonna have a long range option, you want to have the maximum magazine size possible. Largely, I mean, maybe minus an LMG. If it has 75 to 100 rounds already, there's no reason to go for like 150 or 200 rounds. But for an assault rifle, going and having the option between 45 and 60, I'd always recommend to go for the 60. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, so I do enjoy that 60, but it is just still the better option anyways. Lastly, I mean, actually, I'm not even gonna go scroll through it. You guys can see the AMOP V4. The tune on that here is gonna be -0.58 and all the way maxed out there on the bottom for that far distance. You guys can move this like close if you wanted to. During really close to, you can leave in the center. This is like a personal preference thing. I like my optics being a little bit zoomed out from me, just so I can actually see more of what's going on around me. But if you like it to be closer and help with that magnification, that is totally on you. But this is something that I always go for, is a little bit more aim down sight speed, just because like we already slowed the gun down enough, we already made it stable enough. Let's speed it up just a little bit, but I actually like this maxed out there on the bottom. So that's my full build there for the Tempest Razorback. Hope you guys enjoy that one. Last but definitely not least, we have the HCR56 LMG. A lot of these LMGs are really good for long range engagements. Obviously not as much those close range because they're very sluggish and slow, but you can get a lot of great, you know, long distance damage out of these things. So first attachment here is going to be the Komodo Heavy, so that horizontal recoil control. This gun's going to bounce around side to side here decent bit, so we're going to definitely stabilize that out, and it's going to be much more of a laser beam when we do that. So the Komodo Heavy is a great option. The tune on that here is going to be a +0.67 and a +0.10. Now we're going to go up in here and run the F-Tac Hornet 20 barrel. This is going to give us that recoil control, bullet velocity, and hip recoil control. So it says a minus in damage range, but you don't really notice it hardly at all, so it's not something you really have to worry about. It's not gonna make a difference to your damage profile, your TTK, etc. The two on that here is gonna be a +11 and a +10. Now we're gonna go down here and throw on the F-Tac Ripper 56. You guys know what it does. The tune on that here is gonna be a +0.54 and a +0.28. And then now we're gonna go down here and run the 5.56 high velocity round. So much like the 7.62 high velocity, This does the exact same thing, just a different ammo type. It's still going to make your bullets get to the target faster, which is pretty crucial, especially if you're playing something like Al Mazrah, or if you're trying to get those long-range engagements on Vondel, you know, stuff like that. So that's something I'd definitely recommend. And the tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.32 and a minus 2.03. We don't really have to go for the magazine because this already has a 60-round magazine, so you can almost treat this kind of as an AR. So we're not really messing with the magazine down there. And lastly, the AMOP V4, you guys already know how that works. The tune on that is going to be a negative 1.84, and of course, maxed out on the bottom for that far distance. So that's been my top 5 long-range meta guns. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys all later.